Hi everyone, so here I've got a nail that's already had lots of product removed. We're ready for our infill. I've already removed the bulk of the product and I'm just down to the base layer to start again. We're doing a full gel nail. This is a custom glitter mix I've made with Flex, which is one of our thin gels, golden orange, bronze, and a little bit of shimmering sand in there. I'm also going to encapsulate some confetti pieces. I picked these up at Kmart. I think they're just makeup confetti. Okay, so we're going to first start with pushing back our eponychium, and that's going to expose the true non-living tissue that we need to remove from the nail plate. So the next thing I'm going to do is use the Young Nails cuticle cone on the lowest speed possible so that you're not going to burn your client or put those nasty rings of fire into their nail. What the cuticle cone does is it allows you to get right underneath that eponychium to remove all traces of non-living tissue, so when your prep is flawless, your nails won't lift. And once we've done then, obviously we're going to remove all the excess dust from our nail. Okay, so part one of our prep is to sanitize and dehydrate the nail by using the Young Nails Swipe product, and part two is applying the protein bond. Now, protein bond is recommended that we put 2 applications on for ultimate insurance that the nail's not going to lift or separate. If I've got a very young person, I'll go ahead and put that in the lamp just to make it extra tacky, but I'm not so young. First layer is our base, so we're using the Synergy gels in the base, and we only need to apply a very, very small amount of this. The way I like to explain this to my students is that if it feels like it's dragging on the nail, you're not floating this product, you're dragging a nice thin layer across the nail plate. That's all you need to do. So paying lots of attention to just applying it to the nail plate, not touching any of your lateral folds, any of the eponychium. I'm making sure I've got a nice, ultra thin, even layer across my whole nail. Now that's cured in the UV or the LED lamp, I'm coming in with my first layer of glitter. I'm being very careful here with my glitter application so that it doesn't touch any of the skin, because we don't want to spend any time filing it off the skin, obviously, or causing our nail to lift. Now, if you find that application doesn't give you enough coverage, I'll come in with my second layer of that glitter gel. This layer, I will float it ever so slightly over that first initial layer of glitter, just so I get a nice even coverage. If I pull and drag it off with my brush too much, I seem to be pushing it uphill and not being able to get it on properly. Just remove any overspill there. I've got a little bald spot here I think I need to pay a bit of attention to. And just apply a little bit more glitter. I'm still putting my application on very, very thinly because you want the UV or the LED lamp to still penetrate that layer of glitter and cure it properly. The next implement I'm using is my crystal katana, and that's going to allow me to pick up the pieces of confetti and place them on the nail. Now, because this is quite a chunky glitter, I actually prefer to lay my confetti into the wet gel prior to curing it. And this is going to allow me to put it under the lamp so that when I'm going to encapsulate that under my build, my brush isn't going to be moving my pieces of confetti off when I'm laying my build down. So I'm just going to pop this on quite randomly. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel for you guys. You know, you can fiddle with it and make it all pretty, or you can put it on quite randomly and abstract, which is kind of how I roll. I'll just move those into place with the other end of my crystal katana. It's quite a great little tool, this one. It allows you to pick up rhinestones, Swarovskis, and then with the pointy end of the tool you can just push them into place before you cure it on. Okay, I'm quite happy with that placement, so I'll go and cure that for the necessary time. Now we're going to start building our structure, and I'm coming in with the Synergy gel in the build. I'll be laying that all over the nail and building my strength and upper arch. None of that prior work had any structure in it, no balance. So this is where we're going to lay our product so that it's going to give us enough strength. Now our first layer I'm putting down of the build is still a very thin layer, and this is called our wetting layer. So I'm just going to make sure I get that in all the nooks and crannies of that confetti. And what's the point of putting a wetting layer down? Well, it's to get the next layer to self-level over the top of itself. So don't cure that layer. Pick up your next big nice size of gel, and this should be enough to encapsulate the rest of the nail and be able to build some structure as well. Now I'm floating my product very gently. I'm allowing gravity to do the work, and I'm floating on top of that bead to really encapsulate all of my nail. Now that first wetting layer is doing half the work for me. All I have to do is drag the bulk of the product down, and it will self-level all over the nail for me. Breaking off the tail. Now I'm just going to let that sit and self-level ever so slightly before I go and cure that. The more your product self-levels, obviously the less finish filing you need to do at the end. So just removing the sticky layer or the viscosity layer, I'm just going to go and hand file those perimeters a little bit. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, or the next thing I'm sorry, is put my safety piece into the e-file, and you can see I've just left a tiny gap there. I don't put it right up to the machine because that causes friction. So I put this setting down quite low. I don't want to burn myself with it, and it's only new product. So I can just ever so slightly, realistically, it's only the weight of the hand piece that I'm using. Just debulk some of that gel off. I like to say to people I'm doing half an infill now, so that when the client comes back, all I'm really doing is bezeling down the fill line, taking shine off. So just coming through and getting that structure right, looking down the C-curve or the barrel of the nail, making sure our symmetry is right, our upper arch is in the right spot, and doing half of my infill now. Okay, so now I'm finished with the safety bit. I'm just going to perfect my hand filing a little bit more because I can clearly see what I want to get right now. Okay, so we're removing dust for the final time, and we're going to finish off with our 240 buffer. This is a Young Nails buffer, and I always find if you generally use the spongier side and take out any major scratches that your 150 file may have created, you'll just get a super crystal clear effect when you put on your top gloss. A lot of people are wary of buffing out their scratches when they're using gel. They think that the gel needs to be very rough for the top coat to be applied, but I find gel will stick to a surface that's just not shiny. You don't really need to rough the nail up too much. And our last step we'll be using is our finish gel from Young Nails. This is a hard gel, so it's non-porous. Great for hairdressers, great for nail technicians, and anyone that needs an extra seal on their nail. It's terrific for using over acrylic nails as well, because if you are an acrylic nail tech and you do have someone that would benefit from a non-porous service but not so confident to use gel as a structure, you can do your acrylic nail and then seal it with the finish gel. That'll give you the best of both worlds. So I think I'm happy and I'm going to cure my nail. Thanks for watching everyone. Have a great day.